get everybody for your own purposes. Is that button? Okay, good.
Now we're ready. All right, took a moment to get the YouTube set up, but we're live now. It's 8:35. We have a quorum. I bring the Shellfish Commission meeting to order. First order of business, public input. Hearing none, we'll move on to correspondence. Any correspondence? Item 3, approval of minutes from December 9th. Do I hear a motion to approve?
Make a motion to approve.
No discussion? All in favor? Aye. Okay, next item. Approval of commission meeting schedule for 2026.
It's the same, it's the second Tuesday of every month, but the sheet is up there.
I know I've written the dates down on my calendar. They all look fine to me. Do I hear a motion to approve the meeting schedule for 2026? Any discussion? All in favor? Say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Approval of updated shellfishing area closure dates for 2026. Let me ask Kate, were there any changes, material changes in how it was expressed from previous years?
So we had voted on the changing it from, I can't remember if it was sunrise, I think it was from sunrise to sunset, but the wording on this actually already was sunset. So it was just changing of the dates, like with correct, with the wording. So nothing major.
Do I hear a motion to approve the proposed closure dates for 2026?
Motion to approve closure dates for 2026.
Do I get a second? All right. All in favor? Aye. Motion carries. All right. The next is the approval of the commercial shellfish license applications. I don't have a list of the applicants.
So I can read the applicants. I have the list. And I guess
Were there any changes from last year?
so there are some people who didn't get their information in to renew, so I can read the names, and they're all names that had the license last year, and then maybe we can approve them together. Or do we have to make separate motions? Do you think?
They all get approved together.
Okay. So I can read off the names. George Davis, Charlie Gale, James Nelson, Joseph Fallon, John Grant, and John Swenton. Are the ones that.
Now, this all goes through the clerk's office. We have nothing to do with these. Laurel notified us that everyone was notified to get their applications in, and 4 people have not. We then reached out to those 4 people, no response. So you're only approving the names that she just read out.
Good question. So, and it's kind of a two-parter. So there was, so I know our ordinances allow, I think, for 2 non-residents to get commercial licenses. I think we've historically, over recent history, have had 1, and I reached out to that person last year just to understand what they were doing with it. I did not hear, I don't think that was one of the names that you mentioned.
Yeah,
Oh.
James Nelson.
Oh, okay, that's James
Yeah.
Nelson. Okay. And so, okay, so he has reapplied, and I don't know that we ever explicitly discussed this, but I'm assuming the commercial license is different than the residential license changes that we've been discussing.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Alright. So do we want to make a motion to approve
Jeff
those?
needs to recuse himself because he's a member. You can't vote on yourself.
So I am recused because I'm on the list.
So, if George is recused, does this still count as a quorum to vote on?
Oh, I guess no.
I'm happy to make a motion to approve. I just wanted to bring up that that 4 was a quorum. George is recused. I'm just not.
I would imagine that we need 4. I mean, you can make a motion and I can confirm with the clerk's office after the meeting whether or not it can be an official motion.
Okay.
You want to do that? And I'll just let
Sure.
you guys know next meeting if it didn't pass.
Okay, so I'll make a motion to approve the commercial licenses for 2026.
And I'll second that.
All in favor?
All in favor?
What's next is report of the harbor master.
Really have anything to report. I will be working on the permit for the upweller at the Coast Guard station. We're moving forward with that. We haven't heard back from the Bogamp Shellfish Restoration Fund yet, but Katie wrote a nice letter stating our reasons why and what the project was going to entail. So I would think that they would be meeting within the next month or so, but I'm pretty excited for that. We are going to be posting for 2 new shellfish wardens for the summer. If anyone has anyone in their arsenal, and
Can I ask, is it because certain people aren't coming back or?
yes, Katie's in a new role
Right.
for me. I do want her out there on the water, but I want her in different capacity, and I don't think Bill wants to work as much. He hasn't said so to me yet.
Is
And I think, and we lost Tilly.
oh, I was just gonna ask, so I thought, yeah, so Tilly's not coming back.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's nice to have 3 people,
Oh, yeah,
2 that are out working when one has a day off. So.
agree.
And is the collection of shellfish, is that on the agenda here, or what you guys are doing tomorrow?
Yeah, I'll talk about that. Sure.
All right, that's all I got. Well, I might as well go right into number 8 then. So Amy came in and the town solicitor was worried that banning non-Block Island residents from shellfishing, scalloping was a violation of the Constitution.
That's the sum total of,
More or less, he was very worried about the wording.
interesting, because they're banned from bay scalloping in the state.
So he suggested,
So the
No,
state,
So-
okay, that's,
so he suggested that we can't use Block Island residents as a term, but we could prohibit it to only Rhode Island residents in line with the state. That we could do. We can't take it one step further because there's such specific Rhode Island constitutional laws around access to the water.
Okay,
So I then gave him and Amy can you grab that thing underneath my window?
Oh, yeah.
It's all the way to the left. It's a, state ordinance on shellfishing where it gives the town of New Shoreham
right.
a little more extreme rights to what we want to monitor. And Amy wasn't sure if he even was aware of that. So she sent that to him and we haven't gotten another reply about it. Her thought. You guys want to? This is the general law.
Right, we're familiar with that.
So Amy's thought was if you guys want to fight it and bring it to the town council, his stance is not going to be support, not fight it.
Yeah, right. It's
But-
not a fight.
No, it's not a fight. Yeah, a challenge is a better word.
Yeah, I'm familiar with this.
But he didn't think that you were gonna get the support from the town council.
Right, because he's not supporting it. Interesting. But and of course, our definition of resident for the purposes of shellfishing is pretty broad. It's resident and or taxpayer,
So.
which
next
isn't necessarily even Rhode Island resident.
Banning non-Rhode Island residents from scalloping.
Right, and that, non-Rhode Island residents,
And that's what it is in the state of Rhode Island.
right. Well, we have non-Rhode Island residents that are still, we'd still call them residents, so they'd still be able to scallop.
Because they're a Block Island resident. Yes.
Right, so so you either have to be a Rhode Island resident or a Block Island resident, as we define it, to scallop, either one of those. If you're neither,
You cannot
then-
scallop.
okay,
You can plan.
right, but you cannot base scallop.
Correct.
So honestly, I think this all defeats the purpose of what we were trying to achieve, because I think some of the boats that were coming in were Rhode Island residents. They were out of Point Judith. There are other municipalities that if they didn't ban them, they had an increased fee for non-residents, which would deter non-residents for coming over for a weekend. Did we want to look at that as an alternative, which might be more agreeable with the town council, as this is what other towns are doing?
Kate asked you to say that again.
So if we just say Rhode Island residents can scallop, I think it defeats the purpose of what we originally set out to do, which was preventing some of the boats that were coming in with a lot of people from hitting the scallop ground. So I don't know that we'd be in a better situation necessarily than we are today, maybe a little bit. But one of the alternatives was, instead of banning them, was just having a very high non-resident fee for a license during scallop season, which is what the information that Tom collected. A lot of those towns had much higher non-residence fees, so much that it would deter it. Would we be better off abandoning the resident, non-resident, and going with non-resident? We talked about a $400 fee as a deterrent?
Non-resident of Block Island, not Rhode Island.
Yes.
Yes.
Your point's well made about if we if Rhode Islanders are part of the Bay Scout, then boats coming from Point Judith are still.
Right,
still
assuming
We're
that-
not fixing that
We're not-
concern.
which is where this all
It'll
started.
fix it with other states, but not from Rhode Island, and Rhode Island
That's-
certainly is a concern
That's
coming
right.
from Point Judith. So, interesting.
You know, boat registration, that doesn't mean the person from where their boat's registered. Got it. So what's it, ID from them, full November day, you know, it's not any, where's that?
Do you go,
A couple of those people are like, they were boats, I mean,
yeah,
tell us boat story.
do we go to, besides having a high fee? Do we go to what Phil possibly suggested and making the scallop season a lot smaller? A shorter season and having it, it's right now it's 2 months. Do we make it only for December for non-residents?
Oh, shortening the season for non-residents, not shortening for everybody.
One of Phil's thoughts, I know he's not here right now, but
Bill, go ahead. Will you speak into the mic, please? Since you are important.
I might challenge this solicitor at first, you know, I think we're on the right track, I think that's the easier way to go. Not that that's opinion doesn't mean right, might be more challenged. You know, because, I mean, some of the research that was done before it was suggested was that other islands are doing similar things, right? So it's out there, why we did, I don't know.
Well, I don't know the legal side of it, but it doesn't, the Rhode Island laws versus, for example, these towns were in Massachusetts, that it may be a whole, I doubt it's the same story between Massachusetts and Rhode Island. Right. Right. I think the proposal we put forward was a good one and it seemed to make sense.
there was something else in the Rhode Island state law giving access to the waterfront and the water uses as that is very different than Connecticut, Massachusetts, any other New England state.
And I'm not despite what you may think, I'm not an attorney, but I would think access to the shore and taking shellfish. I feel like there is a legal distinction there because taking of shellfish and finfish is like, it's a DEM. Again, I don't want to talk beyond my knowledge, but I think the taking of shellfish is beyond just access to.
Not just access, but its use.
Okay.
If you want, we can get something a
I,
little more concrete and written. Amy just said that it would be a very small blurb. We had a 10-minute conversation about it.
right. I think we'd,
He was very wary about you banning putting such a.
fair enough. But I guess from what I'm hearing, I'd certainly like to understand a little bit more about that. Yeah, you don't want to fight something, well, it's not a fight, but don't want to start something that is just going to take an awful lot of energy for what we get from it, for both the shellfish and the town. But I don't think we're ready to just abandon our proposal based on this amount of information. Can I have a little bit of I'd like to know a little bit more about that thinking and what our options might be.
So we're bringing this up now, even without the official thing from, we were hoping to get a note from him before this meeting, but with our timeline, we just wanted to make you aware of his initial thoughts, because we want to get the schedule of fees to get these, new regulations in place for the next season. So if we establish a combined opinion among the commission now, we can maybe go back to him with that, and then even like without a meeting, just like tell him this is how we're feeling, and then we can go from there on it. That was the idea behind this discussion. So it sounds like in summary, everybody wants a more concrete kind of proposal from him as to why he thinks that
And what
our
options you
proposal
might
is in
have.
violation.
Yes, that's correct. I think what we've realized is just to make the change as suggested does not help with the problem that we were trying to solve. I mean, and so we're kind of back to square one a little bit. And that's certainly thrown a wrench in our plans. The problem is I haven't developed an alternative proposal to this.
Well,
No,
it doesn't
so
have to be alternative, it's just, if you wanna continue on this path and keep pushing forward with what you've proposed, then he's like, by all means, go ahead, and I'll try and get him to write down something a little more concrete as to his opinion.
I'd like to pursue our current path and maybe have a more detailed discussion. What do you think, George?
I agree with that.
Yeah, it would be helpful to know what his advice is to achieve the outcome we're looking for.
So I can contact him with your thoughts and request for concrete information. And as soon as I get that, I can share that with you all.
Thank you, Katie. Anything else on that? Okay. Okay, report from the chair. A couple of things. First off, we did get a report from Dr. Banker or her outline of her plan for 2026. And it really starts with her coming back out in March to to deploy the recruitment boxes as well as some water quality sensors. And this is, I should say right here, if you've grabbed it, that's her plan for studying our soft shell population. But really it kicks in again in March. The whole idea there is based on water temperatures that we've gathered, they'll probably have their first spawn in April. And so the idea is to get the recruitment boxes here as well as the water characteristic sensors in place before that first spawn. And then all those will remain in place until after the fall spawn. At least that's the idea. So they'll be collected again after water temperature drops in the fall. That's the long and short of it, but there's a lot more detail in what she sent yesterday. Any comments on that? Thoughts? Many of you maybe haven't read it yet, so. Okay. All right. And then in the near term, tomorrow we're going to harvest our cohogs to go off to Roger Williams University for them to as brood stock into their nursery where they'll attempt to spawn them and grow seed for us. So the plan is to get together across from the town beach around 11 tomorrow. You know, the entrance in there, the channel that goes between Harbor Pond and Trims Pond. We're going to harvest from that area in there. There's a nice point bar across the way. And the reason we want to harvest there is based on the pathology report that we got. It said basically all our clams were healthy. There was no problem with the pathology, so they can use our clams in their nursery. But they did discover that the clams taken from that particular area appeared to be the healthiest, at least, well, healthy is too strong a word. They were all healthy, but they had fewer concretion in the kidney tissue, which is news to me. Obviously, it's a new thing, but basically, it has no significance pathologically or impact on the animal, but it does sometimes suggest that there's a little more bacteria in an area where they grow concretions. I'm saying this all backwards and sideways. I'm sorry. But the bottom line is they recommended if we're going to harvest for them, the very healthiest of the clams came from this area that I'm talking about, right where the channel cuts into Trim's Pond from Harbor's Pond. And that's why we're going to harvest from there. And we need to harvest 60 to 80 animals. The idea is we'll get out there at 11. Low tide's a little after that. It's not a very low tide tomorrow at all. And then the clams will be on the boat, the 2 o'clock boat, and they'll pick them up over on the other side and bring them up to Roger Williams. That's the plan. We shouldn't have any trouble collecting that number of clams, in an hour or so. Normally be less, but we're targeting larger clams, the biggest we can find, so that'll slow us down a bit. Are you going to help, Bill? Oh, good, good. In fact, who will be able to help tomorrow? Wow. Well, we should make short work of this then. Hopefully. Yeah. Well, great. And it's going to be a little breezy again tomorrow, but warm-ish in the 40s. The weather will be okay, not maybe quite as good as now, but pretty good. That is all I had. Oh, no, there was one other thing. I'm sorry. The Maine Fishermen's Forum is March 5th through 7th this year. March 5th is a Thursday. That is the day of they call it the Shellfish Focus Day. And that is a great day to be there and make connection with other people and municipalities that are working on the same sorts of March 5th through the 7th, Thursday through Saturday. It's a great way to connect with people who are working on shellfish issues with municipalities. They usually have they will have a discussion on what to do with green crabs. They will have a discussion of reseeding and population sustainability. They're still working out all the seminars they're going to have that day. But I would encourage, oh, here we go. I certainly encourage you to go if you're interested. And I understand that we often Harbors is willing to help with the cost for people to stay up there as long as it's reasonable, because it's a great educational situation. We've got it. The other thing that's good to know is that the Thursday night of the Shellfish Focus Day, there's an incredible shellfish all-you-can-eat buffet. But what's important about that is you have to make reservations now because it always sells out. It is really exceptional. So anyway. That's all I've had. Oh, I guess I kind of discussed the Roger Williams pathology report and project timeline, so we covered that as well. All right, so on to number 11.
We did do the timeline. What?
Oh, okay.
What's the time us getting this back so that we have the upweller. I would like to have the upweller up and running by early June.
Right. So are you asking, would that be soon enough for the seed that they're going to be producing? The answer to that is yes. But I have to admit, my recollection is that it is a several month process. They have to cure the clams and I don't believe they'll be ready. I don't think they'll need an upweller before June. I will confirm, okay, I will confirm that with them. Okay, go ahead, Katie. Looks like about-
Yeah, I was just scallop season observations, anything.
I think it was a lot slower because of Mother Nature. It was extremely windy. Of the people that I did speak with, Mosquito Beach area seemed to be where they were getting the most scallops. A lot of places closer to Champlin's and south, people weren't really seeing a whole lot of animals over there.
I wonder,
But what I was seeing coming out looked really healthy and really big. And people were getting the limit for sure. Joe, you were out there a lot.
Yeah, I would say out of the season, there were probably only 2 days I wasn't able to get my limit. And those days were primarily due to the fact that there was high turbidity in the water. But other than that, I was able to get my limit almost every time I went. And like you had said with Mosquito Beach, there was definitely a noticeable difference over there with, I would say, bigger scallops and everything like that. I was able to get my limit quicker over there, and it just seemed like they were more plentiful at that location in the pond. I mean, I tried obviously by Bonnell and the cove north of Bonnell, but it was more slim pickings over there. And I'm not sure if some of that is due to the boats that came in the beginning of the season. But I believe most of the boats that we saw come in the beginning were right around Mosquito Beach, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, it's pretty much what I observed throughout the season.
that's neat. That's a change, isn't it?
In the past, primarily, I've seen more scallops over on the west side of the Great Salt Pond as opposed to the east side.
Right.
I'm not sure if wind has any sort of factor
yeah, I
in
was
that. I mean, maybe the benthic structure. I mean, I know that they primarily like eelgrass, and that was also something that I saw a little bit less of this past season too, during my swims and everything like that.
Now, less eelgrass on the west side or the east side, or both?
I mean, it's kind of hard to say. I would say probably throughout the entire pond.
Hmm.
I mean, in my perspective, anyway.
That's certainly a negative. Yeah.
No, absolutely. I mean, eelgrass is certainly an important habitat. I mean, for the scallops as well as a lot of other sea life. And I mean, whether it be crabs, clams, I mean, small juvenile bait fish, anything like that. So it's something to be noted.
Yeah. In fact, that's interesting. We should be talking about eelgrass now because there was a program.
I
on
actually
ocean-
watched that the other night. Yeah,
It sounded like
that
it.
was very informative. Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
It was a 22-minute program and it was called On Seagrass.
Exactly.
And toward the end,
Sea
it featured
grants.
Block Island.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, it was very informative. I thought it was certainly a good program.
Where was that? Where we went on?
It's on, well, our PBS is now called Ocean State Media. And so it was on Ocean State Media Friday, Thursday, what night was that on? Friday evening. Tomas Keck, if I pronounce it correctly, is the filmmaker. And it's that was the first in a 4-part series of documentary that he's done. And this one was featuring seagrass and also featured some people here on Block Island, as well as Block Island toward the
Katie,
latter half.
Are you, I know Aaron made it in one of those. Are you in one of those as well?
Yeah, I I did some interviews. I don't know if I made the final cut, but at least there's videos from the Bros project.
Yeah.
You were on that part. They showed that. You were there. Okay,
I
well,
also think that, Lee and
Jay.
had talked about possibly, why don't we consider doing some plantings of eelgrass? Doing an eelgrass survey, and
planting some grass.
that certainly will help with the scallop population.
Mhm.
One thing I didn't mention is that I've already reached out to Mark Perry, Tony Seafood, about our restock for May. And we're gonna both work together on all the paperwork and make sure we don't miss anything and keep everybody in the loop of what they're requiring of us. So we'll be set for early May, first or second week of May to do our restock.
Okay, great. So we've got some work to do to figure out how we're going to get our rewrite of the ordinance through. And still honor our desire to protect the scallop population. So we look forward to a little more detail from the solicitor and see how quickly we can wrap this up.
That for this coming season, we need it for the brochures so that we can get those printed and corrected. I want to say no later than the end of March, beginning of April.
Or let's see if we can, come to some understanding about these things between now and the next February meeting and then vote on a, yes. Who here will be here at the February meeting?
I don't see an issue. I should be able to attend.
Well, at least us four anyway. And I think,
Those in Mexico right now.
well, I think Jim had to go off because of a medical thing for the family, so he'll probably be here too. So, great. Is there anything else? If not, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
I'll second that.
All in favor? Aye, thank you.
I know.